Hello everyone, may I have your attention? The presentation is about to begin. A very pleasant morning to Dr. Amerjit, speaker for today, who is also the Director for Media and Corporate Communication Division, Department of Information Malaysia, lecturers, students, and to all of you being here. This webinar is brought to you by School of Marketing and Management SOMM and with the support from Department of Information Malaysia. I'm Wanita Sagadevan, Media Lecturer, and I'll be your moderator for today. Thank you all once again for finding time and visiting today's webinar on unleashing the power of government public relation in promoting Visit Malaysia Year. In this session, Dr. Amerjit, who is also our Adjunct Professor for Tourism and Media for APU School of Marketing and Management, will explain about the public relations strategies for Visit Malaysia Year 2014, looking at the challenges faced to achieve a successful PR campaign. So he will also share the honor achieved by Malaysia Tourism Industry and to discuss about the current tourism scenario in Malaysia. Hello, Dr. Amerjit. How are you doing?
Hello, Anita. How are you?
I'm great,
Fine,
Doctor.
thank
Thank
you.
you.
Right.
It's pleasure to have you here, Doctor.
Same
We
here.
can't wait.
Likewise.
Yeah. All right.
Likewise.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Doctor, for finding time and being here with us. And we really appreciate this great opportunity for us and our student. Before we start, let me explain how you can talk to us during the webinar. If you have any question during the presentation, just write them to the chat column. We will have a short and quick Q&A session at the end of the talk. So without further ado, I would like to welcome the presenter, Dr. Amerjit, to deliver his talk.
All right. Thank you very much, Vanita, for being such an excellent moderator. Ladies, gentlemen, both academic staff, non-academic staff, dear students of APU, in particular, School of Marketing and Management, and everybody out there, including the studio team. Thank you very much. Firstly, I must say it is indeed an honor, both an honor and pleasure, to be invited by the prestigious APU to share some insights vis-a-vis unleashing the power of government public relations in promoting Visit Malaysia. Something close to my heart because then, 2014, I was attached with the Ministry of Tourism and Culture and had a hand in outlining the strategies for promoting Visit Malaysia Year then. All right, we shall move on, sir, to the first slide. Right. Let me begin by walking through some basic sharing regarding the global tourism economy. As we all know, tourism is an economic and social phenomenon. This is what is described, stated by the UNWTO, which stands for the United Nations World Tourism Organization. We know it is a specialized agency in the United States entrusted with the promotion of responsible, sustainable, and universally accessible tourism. Headquarters of UNWTO, is in Madrid, Spain. Just to share with you and to make you a bit jealous, I had the opportunity to go to UNWTO some years back. So, gentlemen, according to UNWTO, tourism entails the movement of people from countries, from places outside their usual environment. It's for personal, it's for business, it's for professional purposes and whatnot. And normally, as stated in this little definition, we see there are two components related to tourism. One is economic and one is social. As we go on and see, we'll see that facts and figures like tourist arrivals and what is the earnings or the tourist receipts received at one point of time. Over here, for example, I picked 2012. We can see that over here, 1 billion for the first time with the tourism receipts of USD 1 trillion. It's I do not know how many zeros are there, but there's a big volume of money there. And it is also a component of the GDP. As we know, GDP is a gross domestic product, the total market value of goods and services produced by the country, and is the main exporter for one third of the developing countries. And most importantly, for you and me, it represents one in every 12 jobs, making it one of the world top job creator. One more element I will add at this point is tourism is not just economic and social, but it is also cultural in nature. The cultural aspect of phenomenon is important, and that's why in Malaysia, it is known as the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, MOTEC, because uh, when involving tourism, it enhances, it strengthens the cultural heritage. Okay, next. Let me also just share some basic points about tourism industry in Malaysia. This is more related to us. Next slide. We see that yeah, these are some beautiful images of real images of the places of interest and of our Malaysian people, hospitality of our Malaysians. Next. Right. We all know that Malaysia is a Southeast Asian country comprising of, as we've seen by the map, Peninsular Malaysia, Sabah, and Sarawak. Some people call it Borneo. Capital city is Kuala Lumpur. The population of Malaysia at this point, according to the latest census by the Statistics Department, is 32.37 million people. And there are 13 states and 3 federal territories that we already know. So this is just an overview about Malaysia. Next slide. Our Malaysia tourism's philosophy basically is tourism protects, preserves, conserves Mother Nature, heritage culture. So that strongly encompasses the component of tourism. It is economic, it's social, it's cultural. And our philosophy here is, our mantra here is, tourism must protect, must preserve, conserve Mother Nature, heritage, and culture. Next, please. So, what exactly is our strength as a point of place of a visitation as a tourist attraction? What exactly our point? The number one point I can tell you, gentlemen, I can share with you is diversity is our strength. You know, many years ago, in the early 90s, when I had the opportunity to do my master's in the United States of America, I went to a place called the Drake University. The Drake University is in Des Moines, Iowa. I schooled there for about 1 year for my master's. And over there, in the 90s, people were really amazed, students, lecturers, men in the public, amazed. How come is it there are so many people of so many ethnics in Malaysia, but you all still live peacefully over there? So this is the answer to it. Diversity is our strength. Our strength is diversity. And because of this, we have a multiracial society. We have the Malays, we have the Chinese, we have the Punjabis, we have the Peranakans, we have the Indians, we have the Kadazans. In fact, there are some 127 sub-ethnic groups in Malaysia. Then we also multilingual. Don't be surprised in APU itself, you find people Malay talking Chinese, Chinese can be able to read Jawi, uh, uh, in Malay man talking in a Tamil language. So we are all multilingual as such, multi-religious and multicultural. And what is our selling point? Our heritage is also our selling point. We have got heritage status for cities like Penang and Malacca, and it's not easy to achieve this status. After you go through a strict criteria, you're awarded this heritage status. And what more, we are actually full of festivals in Malaysia. We have colors of Malaysia. We have the Malaysia national level open houses. We have events like Magic of the Night. I'll explain to you what is Magic of the Night. Next slide. And then don't forget our food. I'm sure both the domestic and international students at APU, for example, you are more familiar than me with the diversity of food we have in Malaysia. our food festival. In fact, for some places like Penang, that's where I originate from, it's called a food heaven over there, and you really have a good variety of tasty food. And then we also have affordable luxury like golf, shopping, cruising, resorts, art, tourism. Nature and adventure is another our strength, our strong point. Our rainforest is the world's oldest rainforest, and that's a big achievement actually. Yeah, it's a big strength, and we are moving towards a biodiversity hub, and we have mega diversities with orchids, with national parks, our islands and our beaches. We have over 1,000 islands, and we have world class diving sites as such. Next slide. And then for the family too, we have family fun like theme parks. I'm sure a good number of you have been to theme parks, Genting, Sunway, Legoland, Lost World of Tambun. We have the nature like the Forest Research Institute of Malaysia, FRIM. We have green tourism, cycling, very common in Putrajaya. If you come to Putrajaya in the evenings, you'll see a lot of people cycling. Rural tourism, which is homestay, agro-tourism, railway, and also others, for example, medical tourism, and even education tourism. We have a lot of varsities offering courses in tourism related. APU being example, one good example, and also long stay tourism. Next one. These are our niche products. You see, when people ask about Malaysia, people want to visit Malaysia, we ask them, why do you want to visit Malaysia? Besides the cultural diversity of Malaysia as such, we have beautiful parks and gardens. Our homestays, in fact, later I'll tell you, we have won prestigious awards for homestays. Agro-tourism, MM2H stands for Malaysia, My Second Home. This is another very vital project under the Ministry of Tourism. We have golf tourism, cruise, and also nature or ecotourism. Okay, that was so much of the promotion to Malaysia, why you should come Malaysia and why you should come and study at APU. All right, let's look at the next slide. It's about Malaysia in the eyes of the world. Next one. All right. Now, this one is from a PR standpoint. When I say Malaysia in the eyes of the world, I'm trying to reveal to you, I'm going to share with you Malaysia from a PR or public relations standpoint. What are we famous for? How we position ourselves in the world, in the world, in the eyes of the world, how we position ourselves. You see, some of the basic facts. We had been the 9th most visited country in the world consecutively 2009, 2010, 2011. 9th most visited, that means top 10 lah. We are all in the top 10. In 2012, we were 10th most visited country, as I said. Okay, and then 6th largest component in Malaysian economy, tourism, bringing a income of 51.5 billion back in 2013. And for those of us who love shopping, not necessarily the ladies, the guys also love shopping, I know. The 4th shopping destination in the world, and this is not according to you or me, this is according to the CNN Travel Report 2012-2013. We are 4th in the market. And as 4th means we are after New York, after Tokyo, after London. It's a very mighty achievement actually. After New York, Tokyo, London, Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia falls as the 4th shopping destination in the world, and also the 2nd shopping destination in Asia Pacific itself, according to this Globe Shopper Index, Asia Pacific. Then next slide, you'll see something that you cannot deny. Are Malaysians friendly? You have the answer to yourselves. We are the 10th world's friendliest country, according to Forbes, research by Forbes. We are the 10th world's friendliest country, which is true. Wherever you go, you'll see people who are polite, who try to assist you wherever possible. And as I mentioned just now, the program of MM2H, Malaysia, My Second Home, we are the 4th world top retirement haven, according to International Living Magazine. People who want to retire from London, from New York, from India, they want to come and stay in Malaysia because it feels very peaceful, and we have our strength, as mentioned just now. Meetings also, in terms of meetings, we are one of the top meetings destinations. And competitive economy, competitive, no, doing business, not so much of bureaucracy or red tape. We are rated as number 12. And this is the one I mentioned earlier about homestay. We won the first prize under the United Nations World Tourism Organization for innovation and public policy related to homestay experience. This is something which we are all very proud of, because to get a first prize for this award is something very meaningful. Next slide. Okay, and there's, as I mentioned earlier, our position, we are the we were the top 10th position for 2012 in terms of tourist arrivals to Malaysia, after France, United States, China, Spain, Italy, Turkey, Germany, United Kingdom, uh, Ru- Russia Federation, and then Malaysia. Okay, the other slide explains about why. Maybe you'll be wondering, why are we ranked as the, or how come we can be ranked as the fourth best shopping city. This is a report by CNN Travel, and they did a survey involving some good population, and they found out that there are four categories used to award this. Number one is getting around. What does getting around means? Comfortable, comfortable going around. Either you can walk, either you can take a grab, or either you can take a cab. And most of the shopping complexes are in Kuala Lumpur city, so ease of moving around makes it our one of the points. We were rated as the fourth best shopping city. Then value. What does value means? Value means value for money to be spent, affordability. Some items might be expensive, but most items are affordable. So this also gives another additional strength to it. And then, not forgetting, we have variety. We have the some places in KL, for that matter, we have the largest malls, and with the largest malls come the variety of goods and quality of goods and services, all under one roof, so making it easier for people to shop. So that is another strength. And the other one is the experience. They ask tourists themselves, why do you like shopping in Malaysia? What make you shop in Malaysia? Shopping, we can browse the boutiques. We can haggle over price. In some countries, haggling is not around, not allowed. It's banned. Haggling is not allowed. It's banned. So here we can haggle over prices, especially when we go to Chinatown, and we can enjoy our lunch nearby and go back, continue shopping again. So these are the criteria that have been used, and we have got high points of this. We got the highest point was value 10 upon 10 in terms of our shopping experience. All right, and then the other one is, the next slide will be the UN WTO Ulysses Award. This is the one I said. It's a very prestigious award for the Malaysian homestay program. Very increasingly popular program. This, for information of all of us, the homestay program was actually launched in 1995 for both local and foreign tourists. And then we see that along the way, this has become a, with people, when tourists come, they come and stay in a certain kampong or village. They learn about the family relationships. They enjoy home cooked food, simple lifestyle in that. Okay, so that one, proud to announce that we won the first prize. This is what, this is all Malaysia from the PR standpoint. We're selling Malaysia. How do we sell Malaysia in this, in terms of the accolades, in terms of the awards that we have achieved? Okay, next. Yeah, this is a graphic representation of some of the key areas. You don't have to memorize this, but just as a background information, the NKEA stands for National Key Economic Areas. That means when the government does planning about tourism, these are the main components that they take into consideration, like shopping, family fun, events, business tourism, nature. All these are different, because different tourists come for different reasons, and these are what we call as the uh, attractions for the tourists. Okay, next one. This is what I explained just now, or mentioned just now, rather, magic of the night. These are all events, but we branded them in such a way, the Ministry of Tourism branded such so that they become something people want to talk about, something they will not forget, memorable. You see, you just talk about event, something else, but it becomes magic of the night. Hey, what's so magical about it? What is it? This is it. Some of you would have seen this, maybe some of you may not. This magic of the night is simply decorated boats grazing at the Putrajaya Lake, showing showcase of boats in the various states in Malaysia. That means if you are from, let's say, Negeri Sembilan, you have the Minangkabau shaped boat for that matter. So also not only boats, lights, colors, beautiful architecture, not only local states, we have also had participation from China, for example. They also came and participate in this magic of the night. So it becomes fun activity at the same time. It becomes promotion of culture at the same time. So magic of the night, hence the name magic of the night. Then we have colors of Malaysia. This one central theme is colors of Malaysia, means our diversity, our strength. Right? It includes our nature, our homestay, our sports tourism, our arts tourism, our food. It's all in it. So that's colors of Malaysia. Okay, next slide. And this is just explaining to you what I said just now about the decorative boats and all that. And then colors of Malaysia again. Yes. Next one, we have water festival. Another one interesting point is about open houses. I'm very sure some of you would have visited some of the open houses at the national level. We had in Malacca, we had in KL, we've had in Dataran Merdeka. These are open houses to what? And to reinforce our multicultural diversity, our strength. That is our USP, our unique selling propositions, which make Malaysia as one of the top tourist visited destination in the world. Next. Okay, and for those of you who love water, it's the most enjoyable cultural festival where people from different ages and walks of life come together. They have fun during these water festivals. In Langkawi, next slide, I think it's in PD. Which one is in PD? Yeah, Port Dickson, for example. Yes, correct. All right. Then the other PR event is shoes. You see, shoes also can become a PR event if you know, if you are innovative about it. That time we had the good service of Jimmy Choo. Jimmy Choo is a Malaysian residing in UK who is well known, noted as a top shoe cobbler. And he helped us to organize this event whereby we had this at the PWTC at that point of time. A lot of people visited this event, both locals and foreign. Next is the food. This one makes us hungry. When we talk about food, you have the variety of foods here and there. And this is what our nation is also famous for. And this is what attracts people from overseas to come here. Next one is about art tourism, gentlemen. Tourism is not confined to food, not confined to water festivals or things of that sort. Those who love art, we have over here the Malaysian Contemporary Art Tourism Art Festival, whereby those who have got specific interest, keen interest in art, come and visit and buy paintings of that nature. Next one is on voluntourism, gentlemen. This is something that you can participate. When I was there, they had 5 initiatives. One is the Malaysia Green, Malaysia Clean kind of activity. One is volume sharing, volume tutoring. You're free, you can tutor people on certain aspects of tourism and culture. Malaysian culture and heritage, and Malaysia event. All these are initiatives that fall under voluntourism, whereby people willingly, voluntarily, without force, help in getting things carried out. Okay, we have the collaboration. Next one is the collaboration and cooperation as the taxi ambassadors. Wherever that we go, gentlemen, taxi ambassadors become very important as such because they are the ambassadors of nation. When you, first point of meeting when you come to a certain country is the taxis after the airport, and this is where you see that the ambassadors or taxi ambassadors play an important role as our top questions. Okay. Next one. Okay, this is as I said, our philosophy, which we say that uh, uh, minute. Yeah, this is where we said our protect mother nature, promote the development of green tourism, and then we encourage cycling because they can reduce carbon footprint, and Malaysia green, Malaysia keen for parks, gardens, cleanup projects. You know, when voluntary tourism in that sense means when the beaches are dirty, people litter around. We this in this project is part of the social corporate responsibility by cleaning up the beaches. Next. Yeah, this is just some photograph representation of Malaysia Clean, Malaysia Green. Okay, next we go to the crux of this, the Visit Malaysia Year. Okay, Uda, Visit Malaysia Year. So, in this is where I mentioned earlier that we will be able to we will be able to walk through some of their experience in during the Visit Malaysia Year 2014. Uh, and some of you might have still read this 2014. That was our so far till today. That has been our last Visit Malaysia Year. We had planned one in 2020, but we all know that time we were facing the pandemic, COVID-19. So the Visit Malaysia Year 2020 had to be shelved. What I'm going to talk to you about is about the Visit Malaysia Year 2014. Okay, next. Just to refresh our memory, next slide. We had several Visit Malaysia years before this, and 1990, the theme of our Visit Malaysia was Fascinating Malaysia, Malaysia Year of Festivals. Then 1994, we had another Visit Malaysia Year, Fascinating Malaysia, Naturally More. Quite interesting. In 2007, then we had celebrating 50 years of our nationhood. That was in conjunction with the 50 years of our Merdeka celebration. Okay, next one, week 2004. That's where we had the Visit Malaysia Year. Next one. All right. Now, the purpose of the Visit Malaysia Year is to position Malaysia as a unique travel destination that is attractive, wide range of audience, diversity is our strength, culture, food, biodiversity, and places of interest or visit of destinations. And so over there, and then you can see that next slide, you can see that our target, that was our target of Visit Malaysia Year 2014. We wanted to achieve 28 million international tourist arrivals for that year with 76 billion tourist receipts. Now, the $1 million question is, did we achieve this? So I can tell you, gentlemen, because of the tragedy of 370 MH370 at that point of time, again, this Visit Malaysia Year was not executed as planned because it was very unexpected that tragedy happened at that point of time. So we did not receive that many tourists, and of course, that many tourist receipts also. Okay, next. Right. We face competition from our neighboring countries at that time, and this competition is healthy, because it keeps you on your feet. We had amazing Thailand, we had a wonderful Indonesia, or Philippines. Simply say it's more fun in the Philippines, and Vietnam says timeless charm is that matter. So let's see the next slide. What was our theme for Visit Malaysia 2014? Ours was quite straightforward. Celebrating One Malaysia, truly Asia. This was our theme at that point in time. It's very well known. It was very easy to remember, and people, because when you choose a theme, you must choose a theme that is easy to remember, easy to pronounce. People can keep in their minds for a long time. So this is our theme: celebrating One Malaysia, truly. Okay, let's listen to our theme song. Pintu. The theme song, is it playing? Yeah. Malaysia to Malaysia. Okay, mine. I think there's a slight technical glitch in mine, but this one you cannot miss. You just go to your YouTube and just Malaysia Truly Asia, you'll get this beautiful theme song. All right. At this point, I just have I should see in the private chat. There's one question here. In recent times, the concept of homestay has been a misconception by the operators. It's supposed to be uh, where it's supposed to be operated by the village. Instead, it has been operated by the urban areas. What's your view on this? So, good question. Good question. I would like to clarify at this stage that homestay actually is meant for urban and rural. It started with rural entity, of course, at that point of time. It was more a rural entity. But as tourism developed, as we got more and more people coming, uh, we allowed urban areas also to open homestays. The important thing, whether you're urban or rural, my point is the kind of activities you organize is important. If you're just thinking of profit making, then that's not homestay. Then we have failed in our mission. Homestay concept originally is people come, stay with the family, uh, get to build relationships, for example, and that's PR. Building relationships is PR, long-term relationships, and then tasting the local food, whether it's urban or whether it's rural, tasting the local food, playing games, whether it's traditional or whether it's modern games. So the bonding must be there, and that defines the homestay. So again, I said to answer this question, the way it is implemented is important. How the homestay is conducted or carried out. If it is purely for business purpose, then it has defeated the purpose of homestays. What can be expected from the Ministry of Tourism and fresh graduates who want to venture into tourism? Yes, this one is a very, important question as such. What we want is actually, when I was serving the Ministry of Tourism, we want skilled communicators. To work in this industry, you must be a good communicator. One important quality, because you are guiding people, you are telling people about our history and all that. If you yourself, you might have the facts, but if you cannot communicate well, the communication is excellent, the communication is not good, then you will fail as meeting the expectation of the ministry. So it's important that number one, we have good communication skills. Communication skills encompass what? Not only talking, you must have good writing skills, because when you write about a certain project, a certain place of interest, and all that, it must all be able to flow, that people will be able to follow you. Good photography skills you must have as such, and then good production skills with you when you take a certain kind of videos or whatnot, documentaries and all that. You must have all that. So all that comes under, for me, summarized as good communication skills. Okay. All right. Sure. Next one. Our yes. So in Visit Malaysia Year 2014, we had several agencies, and both government and private, to help in the success of the year. In fact, Visit Malaysia Year launched in 2014. The planning for Visit Malaysia started as early as late 2012, 2013. 2014 launched. So in this Visit Malaysia Year of 2014, who were the players? The players were, of course, start with Ministry of Tourism and Culture, but not only the ministry. Everybody was involved in it. The federal government and the state government, important because people go to everywhere, all places. Then the private entities, the NGOs, the MATA, the MTGC, the MAHO, all these are private entities that were roped in to help in promoting tourism. Finally, you can see the big circle is the rakyat themselves, the people themselves. The people themselves will, at the end of it, ensure the success or failure of this Visit Malaysia. So in this particular representation or diagram, you can see that so many agencies, both government and private, and finally is the rakyat themselves who will uh, help to ensure the success of Visit Malaysia Year 2014. Next. So some of the key points that we bullet form we produced for 2014 is must get the sense of ownership done. If there's no sense of ownership, no campaign will succeed. I just talked to you about patriotism. We're going to have our every year. In fact, we have our month of patriotism in July, August. If there's no sense of ownership, the campaign is a failure. You can do millions of productions, videos, campaigns, and whatnot, but if the sense of ownership is not there within people of Malaysia, the campaign will not succeed. So here, same thing. What we did was we embedded in the minds of the public, the rakyat. You must say we are the host. Wherever we meet any tourist, domestic or foreign, we must play host to them. That entails a sense of ownership to them. And that time, new media also was new as such. 2014, not as vigorous as it is now. After 2018, the new media became really something which is everybody used. 2014 was the beginning, and then we also went into new media so that we can reach our targeted audience. And your events are important, as I said, the PR events. What sort of events are you happening? I plan to visit Malaysia, but what do I do there when I'm there? What kind of events do I have? Magic of the Night, Colors of Malaysia, festivals at the national level, open houses, and then of course your logistics like increased accessibility. How easy is it for me to fly to Malaysia? Is it a long travel? Are there any shorter routes and all that? How often are the flights from my country to Malaysia? So accessibility was another important notion. And next one, when we said that everybody be part of the celebration, we wanted to create this sense of ownership. We wanted opportunity for all, wanted it to benefit. You see, for people to venture into any event, anything that you do, the first question is, how will it benefit me? So we want to benefit them all, because tourism, as we know, one of the indicators is economic generators. So you can gain some economic returns if you benefit in this particular campaign, Visit Malaysia 2004. It was the responsibility of everyone and not just the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. Next slide. See, we try to embed in the minds people that I'm the media, you are the storyteller, you are the spokesperson. So you require natural understanding and engagement as such. And as I said, new media was new at that point of time, and we used them. Okay, next page tells you about the social media used, dedicated website. Next slide. Dedicated website. Yeah, dedicated website for Visit Malaysia Year, the Facebook, the famous Cuti Satu Malaysia. I'm sure you remember that, and my Motec. And then next slide about the storytelling. This is one important aspect in promoting tourism. In promoting tourism, there must be a lot of storytelling. There must be authentic and credible storytelling for public relations to be shared to the rest of the world. And what is our strength? We hold on to our diversity. Our uniqueness is our diversity. And this is where fascinating stories about Malaysia and Malaysians can help to promote Malaysia at the international level. Next slide tells you about the PR game changers. That means at one point, when you talk about it, promoting was interrupt. Somebody says something, interrupt. No, we don't interrupt. We want to engage people. That's important. Engaging people makes them have a sense of ownership. No more directing people. We want to connect people so they become part of us. No more screaming and shouting. We want to entice people so that they are part of us. No more the hi-fi powered messages. No, engaging content. People feel part of it. Yeah, that's true. We'll say, yeah, that's true. I experienced this, that. And not only reacting. Reacting is or something slow. We want interacting. We want them to be inter-reacting and such. And also the return of investment to be replaced with return of involvement. You can see all these. The PR game changers is getting the sense of involvement by the tourists. Then next slide tells you another very important strategy is WOM. WOM means word of mouth. Don't forget. You can have the new media, you can have the TV, you can have the radio, you can have all the sort of facilities, but word of mouth is so important, because you yourself as a tourist, you are a journalist. What you say, what you story tell is what others will remember and follow through. If he says, oh, don't visit that place, it is dirty, it's not nice, people are not friendly, this word of mouth and people will follow. But if you say on the other hand, beautiful country, Malaysia, polite people, friendly people for the matter, this word of mouth, it carries a lot of weight, and PR must leverage on this social media and word of mouth. Okay, next one, the storytellers. As I said, they could be anywhere, they could be anytime, anywhere. By posting on the social media, the Insta, the Twitter, whatnot, so you can attract people. The stories that I tell and I share, the next slide, maybe something really you want to talk about, so that we can, you see the line that we are the host is very important. You must show that you are the host and people appreciate coming here. Okay, just some challenges on a Visit Malaysia Year at that point of time. Next slide. The key challenges will be on trust and closeness, will be the quality and service. How good is the quality and how good is the service provided when I was in Malaysia for that matter? So, or even as a domestic tourist, I visited a certain place. How good, what is the level of quality? What is the level of service provided? That is what quality in tourism are all about. And this is one of the key challenges that we need to look through. The next one, we need to engage our stakeholders, as I mentioned just now. And our stakeholders are who? Next slide. Our stakeholders are the international tourists, are the domestic tourists, are the local people, the men on the street, the media. The media is also our important stakeholder, whether it's local or international media based in Malaysia. These are important target audience, our stakeholders, so that we must engage with them. Engage how? Providing them the updates, providing them the info. That's why Tourism Malaysia at one point they launched the FAM trips. FAM trips means familiarization trips. They bring a group of dedicated media to certain places, educate them, entertain them so that they understand the scenario, the situation better, and they be able to write correct stories about what's happening and not fake stories. Hospitality, another one, very important aspect of tourism, all interrelated. You students from the tourism faculty can tell that. Next slide. Hospitality, the hoteliers, the FBs, all these are important players in tourism. The retailers, the frontliners. The first people meet when they come to Malaysia is the frontliners, the immigration officers, the custom officers, as I said, the taxi drivers. These are all very important. And don't forget the employees in the organization itself, because they are also the PR agent for tourism. The next slide tells you the importance of feedback, gentlemen, acting on feedback. Feedback, people give you feedback which is open, which is honest, which is credible. You must respond to that feedback. You must elicit an honest and candid feedback. So whether people are happy, unhappy, or anything, you must let them know what is the interaction to that. And then the next slide, the real content and so data that can raise quality and provide edge on tourism industry. Intelligence gathering, feedback again. This is again feedback to Visit Malaysia Year. And the other slide is walk the talk. If you see the next slide, you'll see it's important to walk the talk. When you say something, you must see that it's done. It's important to walk the talk. Otherwise, people will not have trust. When PR people don't have trust, you won't get the expected number of tourists and people might not want to come here. So the future feedback is a pivotal role in the future Visit Malaysia Year's campaigns. Okay, next one, our commitment to tourists. We want to make a difference by minimizing our shortcomings. Yes, if there are any shortcomings, acknowledge it. Say, yes, this time there are. We'll take this into serious consideration and we will make things better for the next experience. Then data is something you all know that is wealth of knowledge, and we need to work on it. And what are our new products? People visited here in 2014. People coming here now. The borders are going to open from 1st of April. There's another 1 or 2 days time. What is new? What is it something they have seen before, which is new, not seen yet? So we must have some new innovative products to share with people, new strategies, and there must be continual improvement. Okay, again, talking about next slide, talking about insights. What are their values? What are their insights? What do they want to know to see how our local tourism industry can grow? Okay, next one. Next slide is about misperception. This is very important. Next slide. The next slide on misperception. Yes, this one. Immediate availability to correct misperception, because in today's world, perception is such a powerful tool. It's more serious than reality. Don't talk about reality so much these days. People talk about perception, and there's a misperception. It gets glued in people's mind, and therefore they find it difficult to erase. So we must be able to correct this misperception fast, resolve issues based on real time, and act on the feedback of the tourists. Okay, next slide is something I've said before. Whom are we talking to? These people, local communities, the rakyat, the foreign, the local, the frontliners, the people from the related industries, the medias, the NGOs. And what are we asking? Next slide. We are asking for their feedback. We are asking for the criticism. We don't only want good things said. No, that's not true. Tell us what you think is lacking, how it can be improved. Suggest to us suggestions. Give us some ideas, and everything else related to tourism. And then we have a getting right involved. Next slide. Everybody must be involved when there is a Visit Malaysia campaign, as I experienced before. It cannot be just the government only. It must be government, it must be the private sector. In the ultimate analysis, it must be the rakyat who's involved in the uh, industry. And then for angling of our stories, next slide, we'll see unity through tourism. This is important. We are showing that we are a united nation, and yes, we are. We are in that sense, and it is how to achieve unity. One of the aspects is via tourism. We are the tourism ambassadors to the country. Okay, mobilizing the rakyat is something that, gentlemen, you can see as such. Uh, we have achieved so many awards or accolades, and we know that tourism is a competitive industry. Everybody is catching up fast. Everybody wants tourists to visit their countries. So how different are we from the others? How best can we see from the others? And I see that there's another question here. Hold on. What are the aids or supports that can be expected from the Ministry of Tourism for fresh graduates who want to venture into tourism? Yeah, this one I said just now. When you talk about the aids or supports expected from Ministry of Tourism, one particular aspect is maybe for newcomers in the fresh who want to venture into tourism. I mentioned just now earlier, I think it's about good communication skills is having one. If you talk in terms of the ministry, they want people who have got these skills, good communication skills. And then also you have opportunity to be posted as an intern maybe at the ministry, at Tourism Malaysia for that matter, not only ministry, but Tourism Malaysia is another entity under the ministry. That's where you can get some experience handling promotional aspects, handling advertising aspects of tourism, to see how best this can assist us in becoming better in the working world. All right, next one, civic consciousness. This is also very important because we are the host. As we are the host, we must have this civic consciousness in us in terms of cleanliness. Nobody wants to visit a country that is dirty, that's not clean. Everywhere there's rubbish thrown. So for this civic consciousness, top points go to Japan actually. In Japan, when somebody sees there's a litter on the road, they won't wait for the worker to pick it up. They pick it up themselves. They kneel down, they pick up the litter and throw away in the waste paper basket. So such is the high level of civic consciousness over there. We also hope that Malaysians will have this civic consciousness. Then let me also, towards the end, discuss something on public relations in destination marketing, whereby we see that PR is a very important component of the communication mix, whereby in terms of PR, you promote destination, you stimulate interest, you decide general action. We remember our model of adopt when we have to adopt something new. We have awareness, and then we have interest, we have desire, then we have acceptability or rejection for that matter. This is based on that model also. And our strategies are very important to ensure the success of any campaign. In this particular campaign, is Visit Malaysia, but any campaign, our strategies are very important, and we have both above the line and below the line kind of media strategies. Public relations is important. Next slide. In destination marketing is part of the communication mix. And then something visible is more, of course, effective, impactful. And we have digital marketing, we have social media, we have content development, editorial development. And the other very important component is crisis management. This is something we learned from Visit Malaysia 2014. We must be really able to prepare for a crisis. And at that point of time, we didn't cross in anybody's mind that such a tragedy, MH370, will happen in the month of March 2014. But then again, we tried our best to contain that strategy by having setting up press centers, by visiting the Chinese embassy in Malaysia, communicating with the next of kin and whatnot. So this kind of strategy is important. Okay, next we have strategies of the travel trade, and then also need for more investment on integrated digital marketing programs, YouTube, brand channels. These are very specific channels where we have to venture, we have to invest actually to go into these channels so that we get wider publicity. people know about us better. There's social sharing of websites, and also digital media campaigns conducted on the Google search, on online display, mobile, YouTube's. Okay, and the next slide tells us about several other things, including the fam trips I told you, the media familiarization trips are very important, and media monitoring. So once the media cover about Malaysia, we need to monitor. That's to be through our embassies lah. We monitor our embassies overseas. What did they say about Malaysia? Did they say good things? Did they say false news? Was it false news? What is it all about? But important thing is honest feedback, and we need to act on that feedback. Okay, a little bit on the crisis management preparedness. Next slide. Preparedness. This was is important during a crisis. We must be able to have a crisis plan to anticipate whatever crisis. This is our lesson learned after 2014. The SOP must in place, and how best can we engage, like the next slide, next of kin, how best our methods or methodology, our strategies to engage this, how best to use social media effectively. Empathy or empathetic communication is something that I coined myself, that something that is going to be very important in the future. When you talk to others, it must be empathetic. Sympathy is something of the past already. Now it's empathetic communication, where you must feel and see how the other party feels exactly. Yeah? And PR diplomacy, in the sense that, we had visited the Chinese embassy in Malaysia, express our condolences, and see how best we could assist in getting things done. Okay, the final part, gentlemen, is about the scenario of the 2020 arrivals. We can see over there. That time was pandemic, pandemic COVID-19, and after April 1st, it's going to be endemic over here. So this we can see overall there was a decline in the tourist arrivals in all the states, all the countries. 2021 also you can see over here. Next slide for 2021. Yes, over here, the Asia Pacific minus 84%. It's a big decline in tourist arrivals. Then the next slide tells you about the top 10 tourist arrivals to Malaysia until June 2021. We see that mostly people from Thailand came over here, then Indonesia, then China. And last time before this, number one tourist arrivals to Malaysia was Singaporeans. Number one, because of the pandemic COVID-19, they came down to number 5. All right, then the receipts to tourism performance, we can see that in 2020, we got something like receipts of 2 million plus, and 2019 was 3 million plus. Okay, again, you can see the next slide, our domestic tourism performances it had a decline of minus 60.8%, because that time we had MCO, people cannot move around, and not much activity was. So that's why everybody's hoping for after April the 1st, we will have more freedom. But more freedom comes with more responsibility. You must be responsible. As you move around, you must take care of yourselves. You must be alert and follow the whatever SOP that we stipulated. Okay, Langkawi tourism bubble is just something for the record, just to show you at that point of time. The next one on the international tourism, we can see a decline, as I said earlier. Next slide. Next one. All right, international, there's a decline. We went down to only 12.7 million arrivals at that point of time. Now, according to Tourism Malaysia, what are the emerging tourism trends? As we can see here, we'll say that certain aspects of tourism trend involve the health and hygiene, innovation, digitalization, sustainability. And if you see the trend that will define travel in 2021, that is last year. Next slide. Yeah, you'll see that staycation is now taking lead. The staycation is just going for a short holiday nearby, and close to their home nearby. So this is a staycation, and travels will see greater outdoor post-pandemic kind of travel. And then all this is left to be seen after April the 1st, because all the borders are open. Well, the next question that arises: are people keen or people want to travel at this point, or they want to maintain a look and see attitude first. Hold on first, see how everything is out there, then they want to travel. All depends on the individual. Okay, Tourism Malaysia direction. This is something for the future, 2022 to 2026, whereby they enhance the tourism promotion. As I said, the digitalization of media is becoming important, and that's where they will capture on it. So, right, gentlemen, let me go to my summary. In this presentation, I have shared some insights about the importance of e-media, of course, destination marketing, engagement and storytelling being very important in promoting tourism. How is our positioning strategy, and how is our PR evaluation? It must be done. And also the Tourism Malaysia's direction in the next coming years, 2022 to 2026. And as for the next one, the VMY 2014, next slide. Yeah, public relation strategy need to identify, create strong visitor engagement. There must be sense of ownership. We'll still continue to hype on our diversity of culture, colors, taste, experiences. We are the hosts. Remember this. We encourage locals to present Malaysia uh, as a warm and hospitable country. And effective public relations, including next one, last slide, measurement of content, article development, media releases, interview speeches, engagement, and also PR events from time to time. Right, gentlemen, with that, I have sort of gone through, shared with you some of my insights, thoughts on PR strategy in promoting Visit Malaysia Year, particularly 2014 when I was at the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. At this juncture, I will be more than glad to get any further questions. Please. Yes.
Thank you very much, Dr. Amerjit. Actually, kind of great because being our adjunct professor, you managed to even have a recap for us, after the great lecture. So it's like a
Thank you.
recap. That's great.
Thank you.
Um, Dr. Amerjit, it's time for our Q&A session. We
Yes.
have a question for you, and I'll be reading the question. At the same
Right.
time, you can view it via our shared screen as well. So the first
Okay.
question from Mr. Zach, he said, "Morning, Dr. Marjit. What is your
Morning.
opinion and reaction on the initial Visit Malaysia logo 2020 that went viral, where the government had to change after? What was your role at this time?" So it's a
Right.
more to PR crisis kind of question. Yeah.
Okay. Good question, Zach. That's a good question. Firstly, I want to clarify, I was not there in 2020. So I worked with the Ministry of Tourism from 2012 to 2018. So I left at that point of time. But now I'll just give you my views on it. That particular logo during the 2020 was a real, it created a lot of, it upset a lot of people as such. Upsetted because this was not supposed to be that way. It was people say that, why did you come up with such a logo when we have talented people out there who can give us better logos at no cost? And why we having this logo with which according to some of the comments which I read, even a school kid can produce logo. Why you having this? But you see, sometimes things work or don't work. It depends very much on the political masters in the organization that you work. This is my experience with you. So political masters will dictate, no, I want this to be done. I want this, only this. But this is where I mentioned many times just now, soliciting feedback from the rakyat is important. What is the opinion? What is the suggestions of the men in the street out there? If our Malaysians themselves, they are not happy with such a logo, then why must we proceed with it? It becomes a laughing stock of the foreign tourists. We proceed with it. So at one point of time, the thing was so great, was so intense that it had to let go. They had to let go the video, the logo, and also at that particular point, also COVID set in. So the entire Visit Malaysia Year 2020 was then shelved.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Doctor, for the great answer. In fact, we can see that ministry is being open to public as well to
Yeah.
listen to the feedback and so on. So we appreciate on that. So
Correct.
the second question, Doctor, is from Mr. Kumal Khairi Khan. Good
Okay.
day. As the time have changed with new media and communication channel improving significantly, and several setbacks like COVID-19 pandemic and quarantines,
Mm.
how do you think this campaign would have looked like if it was not done in 2022?
If it was done, if it was done in
It was
2020.
not done in 2022. So it was done, sorry, in 2022.
That's why I read as if it was done
Sorry,
in
sorry,
2020.
sorry. Yeah.
Yeah. So certainly, as we see the tourism promotion plan, we cannot deny the importance of today, the importance of e-media in promoting the campaign. Today, everything communicated, everything planned is via the e-media. The e-media becomes a very important digital tool because nowadays everything is done through that. The content creation, the kind of publicity, the promotions, the PR aspects of it is done through e-media. But let me tell you, this is we cannot deny the importance of e-media. But as I mentioned in the slide earlier, word of mouth is also equally important because not everybody, for that matter, have access to e-media. Most people have, yes, that's true. But word of mouth is again to reinforce what has been communicated by the e-media. So the nature of the campaign, the way I see Tourism Malaysia has planned the promotion strategies, they want to focus on digitalization as a way to promote tourism. That's right. At the same time, cannot deny the importance of word of mouth in promoting this because
Yes.
for example, if you are a foreigner, you're in Malaysia, you are here, you see something, you tell your family members, word of mouth, that's word of mouth. And your family members tell their friends about it, there's again the word of mouth.
Yeah.
If it is positive and good, well, fine. If it is negative, then it goes along with in that manner. So I think a supplementation strategy of the digitalization, new media, word of mouth works well for PR.
Okay, sure. All right. Next question is by Miss Wenny Chong. It seemed that tourism attraction promoted usually focus on diversity and nature. How do we promote Malaysia is also a country with modern facilities, not only jungles and village?
Yeah,
So,
sure.
yeah.
Sure, sure. Because if you see the setup of the Ministry of Tourism and Culture, you see there's one entity called the MyCEB,
Mm,
MYCEB. If you go Google there and see, you'll see that one is not promoting jungle. That's not promoting nature. That one is promoting meetings and our top facilities that people come here for medical meetings, for education, for business and whatnot. And this becomes a meeting venue as such, this is one way also to promote Malaysia, not only nature or homestays as such. So we have different components. If you look through my slide on the NKEA just now, you'll see there's so many components, key areas in promoting tourism. One of them is also through conventions, to exhibitions, meetings, as such.
okay, awesome.
So,
All right.
yeah,
Thank you, Doctor. In fact, I think that's a very good question because we want to know how far, people are
yeah,
also promoting either their nature. So next
yes,
question is from Mr. Kumar Khairi again.
yeah.
Which parts or points of this campaign do you suggest are outdated and would work in today's era for the standpoint of tourism promotion and communication?
Which parts of this campaign do you suggest are outdated and would not work in today's era?
Yeah.
Yeah. So probably, you see, I need some thinking on that. But I think that every angle that we have mentioned just now for Visit Malaysia 2014 is applicable for the coming campaigns. Maybe you need to improve on some of the parts. That's true. I wouldn't say that we do away with some of the parts because, as I mentioned just now, for destination PR, for the method, we need we need to rely on print media. We still need the print media. We still need word of mouth, of course, digitalization, of course. So these are all components which I feel as in the marketing mix it's important to promote the nation. I cannot see one particular aspect that we say we take out and will not be used. Maybe the focus is different. Last time, maybe the focus, now the focus is more on the digital media. We should focus more on the digital media, but not do away with any other parts because as an integrated mix, marketing mix, all parts are important towards ensure the success of future campaigns. And most important, as I said many times, feedback. What is the feedback? Storytelling. What do people say nowadays with Instagram, for that matter? Immediately you can storytell about a certain place, certain idea, and all that. So we focus more on the e-media these days.
Okay, Awesome. Yes, doctor. Agreed to you. Okay,
Okay.
let's look at the next question by
Yeah.
Ms. Sanjida. As a tourism create huge attraction all over the world, what support can government give to the tourism industry after the pandemic era?
Very specific question, actually, Sanjida, because unless we are in the Ministry of Tourism, we'll be able to answer that exactly. Like, what are the incentives given? Well, I can just, based on my knowledge, I can tell you that there are certain grants awarded by tourism. At least when I was there, there were certain grants awarded by the Ministry of Tourism. You can apply for such grants to assist in promoting tourism in your own way. Normally, it's for companies, lah, for organizations as such. But you must fulfill certain criteria lah, to get hold of the grants awarded by Tourism Malaysia or the Ministry of Tourism. That's one. The other one is, of course, we have to commitment. The commitment is given is important because tourism is an interrelated industry. You see, tourism is one aspect. Then the FB, food and beverages, is another aspect of it. Then the travel industry is another aspect of it. Hoteliers is another aspect of it. So all these are certain various important components of promoting tourism, and each one will have some means or another that the government can provide to promote. During my time, for example, I remember we were we were um, we were focusing on taxi ambassadors, because taxi drivers as the ambassadors of tourism. So we provided them some training, we provided them some grants, but whatnot, to upgrade the taxis so that it'll look presentable when the tourists are here. Speaking skills, language speaking skills when you speak to tourists and all that. So these are the areas that we can continue to venture on.
Wow, excellent, excellent.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next question by Nirvana Nina. Looking back, what part do you believe you could have improved or did differently?
Yeah, one direct answer to that will be the focus on e-media would have been more at that particular point of time. If we had focused on e-media more than we had at that point, probably we would have been more successful. But as I said, the campaign did not. We had to shut the campaign because of the MH370 tragedy. If there had not been that such a tragedy, perhaps we'll be able to evaluate the success or failure of the campaign better towards the end of the year. But just 3 months after launching, the tragedy happened. So we definitely cannot go on promoting Malaysia in this kind of environment, this kind of situation we are facing. We had to deal with the crisis together with the Ministry of Transport, because tourists had fears how to come to Malaysia at that particular point of time and all that. So we did what I call as empathetic communication, so, PR diplomacy, so that people understand that we are concerned. We're not only concerned about the dollars and cents here. We're concerned about the relationship, the bonding, how best can we assist the next of kids in overcoming that problem. So maybe one particular component is we have to focus also on plan on crisis preparedness for the next time. We have to think of several scenarios if such a thing happen. How will we do overcome it, and how best can we continue with the campaign?
Yeah, that was a very tough time, yeah, doctor.
Yeah,
And see
indeed.
that.
Mm.
Okay, let's move on to the next question. Is by Miss Wani again. Far
Mm.
as I know, medical travel has been one of the big part of tourism promotion in this
Mm.
pandemic era. Is it still a valid option to be focused on?
Oh yes, sure. Medical travel or medical tourism, as they call it, that is another entity. It does not fall under the Ministry of Tourism and Culture. It's one entity by itself. You Google, you will know. And this is really gaining importance nowadays. People want to talk about this medical tourism or medical travel, and this is something that I think you should not miss on focusing, because it's an area that you can venture and gain a lot of things from it. And only thing I would suggest is this particular section needs more promotion and publicity. Not many people are aware about this, so maybe they need to go on a PR campaign, whatnot, to promote this medical travel. Last last few months, I think last year, in fact, they had a award for journalists who can write the best medical travel kind of reports and all that. So that's one way of promoting it, gain people's attention,
Yes.
so that you can contribute towards this industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
Looks like Dr. Amerjit answered all your question very well with
I
his
tried.
great
I tried. Yeah.
experience. It's
Yeah.
really a pleasure, Doctor. Thank you very much to the audience for all the valuable questions and comments. We appreciate that. Great thank you to Dr. Amarjit, our speaker for today. Thank you to all of you for participating in today's webinar. We hope to see you again next time. Thank you very much, Doctor.
Thank you very much, Manita. Students,
Thank you.
thank you very much for your active participation. And I hope that managed to answer some of your questions. And wish you all the best in your future endeavors.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.